I arrived 10 minutes early at the cafe. The name was something pretentious, Riverside Retreat. But it was really just a storefront conversion. The floor-to-ceiling windows were spotless. Inside, a few sad-looking pothose plants drooped in their pots. I parked my van across the street in the alley, locked the doors, and brushed some dust off the body. This beat-up wooling van had been with me for nearly 3 years. The cargo bed was permanently stained with old cardboard and plastic bottle residue. The seat cushions had grease marks that wouldn't come out. Every time my aunt saw this van, she'd said I was a college graduate who'd somehow ended up as a junkman. She didn't know I'd chosen this van on purpose. The cafe wasn't busy. I spotted the 2 women at the window table right away. The one in the white knit top must have been Lu Shanshan. She looked thinner in person than in her photos. Her filters did a lot of heavy lifting. Across from her sat her friend, hair dyed a brassy yellow. Scrolling through her phone, I walked over. "Hi, I'm Chun-Mo." Lu Shanshan looked up, the corner of her mouth twitching in what passed for a smile. Her friend, though, looked me up and down. Her gaze lingering on my jacket for a full 2 seconds. I'd bought this jacket at a wholesale market 2 years ago for $80. The cuffs were pilling. "Sit," Lu Shanshan said, gesturing to the chair across from her. I sat and put my keys on the table. The keychain had a faded plastic bear charm I'd found at a scrapyard. Lu Shanshan's eyes flicked to the keys, her brow twitching almost imperceptibly. The atmosphere was already stiff. The waiter came over. I ordered water. Lu Shanshan and her friend each got a latte. Her friend made a point of specifying non-fat milk. "What do you do for work?" Lu Shanshan cut straight to it. "Recycling industry," I said. Her friend snorted. "Just say you collect trash. No need to dress it up." I didn't respond. Lu Shanshan leaned back, arms crossed. A pose I knew well. It was the look an interviewer gives when they've already decided you don't make the cut. She pulled out her phone and scrolled, probably texting my aunt. "I heard from Andy Wong that you used to work at some tech company. You quit." "Yeah. Went out on my own." "Doing what?" "Still tech. And I collect scrap on the side." Her friend laughed again, louder this time. The table next to us turned to look. Lu Shanshan shot her friend a glare, but didn't stop her to ask, "Oh, what's your monthly income these days?" Lu Shanshan asked, blunt as a hammer. I thought for a moment. "It varies. Sometimes more. Sometimes less." "How much more?" "How much less?" "There has to be a number." "Less." "A few thousand." "More." "Hard to say." Her friend slapped her phone down on the table. "Hard to say, as in too little to say out loud." "Right. Shanshan, how did your matchmaker set you up with a guy who doesn't even have a real job?" "Auntie Wong needs to do better." Lu Shanshan's expression had soured. She pushed her cup aside and sat up straighter. I could see her holding back, as she'd probably planned to give the matchmaker face. But now she clearly felt it wasn't worth it. "Chun-Mo," she said, "I'll be direct. I'm 28. My family's pushing me. I want someone on my level. A stable job, an apartment, a car. That's not too much to ask, is it?" "Not too much." I said. "What about you? What do you have?" "You already know that you have a place." "Not yet." "A car." I nodded toward the window. She followed my gaze. My van sat quietly in the alley across the street. We buy scrap appliances, sticker peeling at the edges. That one," I said. Lu Shanshan's last shred of politeness vanished. She rolled her eyes and turned to the window. Her friend leaned in, delighted. "Oh my God. Shanshan, you see that? That piece of junk, with the ad still on it. Trash collector in a trash van. Makes perfect sense." I took a sip of water. No anger. "Not worth it." Chun-Mo." Lu Shanshan turned back, her voice cold. "I don't think we're a match. Honestly, I could grab any guy off the street, and he'd have more going for you. I'm not a gold digger, but you have to give me something to believe in. Like this. I'd be living on air with you." "You're right," I said. "We're not a match." She hadn't expected me to agree so easily. She blinked. Her friend seized the opening. "See, even he knows it. Come on, Shanshan, let's go. Isn't Zhao Kai picking you up soon? That guy's actually made something of himself." Lu Shanshan grabbed her bag. Before she left, she gave me one last look. Half pity, mostly disdain. "Chun-Mo, I'm blunt, but I mean well. If you want a real life, get a real job. Stop playing with trash. You're what, 30? If you don't get your act together soon, it'll be too late." I said nothing. She turned to leave. I spoke up. "You see that building across the street?" She stopped. "Look back." I pointed out the window. Across the road, a glass curtain-walled high-rise had just topped out. The gilded characters on its crown, Moke Tower, blazed in the afternoon sun. "That's mine." I said. 2 seconds of silence. Then her friend burst out laughing, nearly knocking over her latte. "Oh my God, Shan, did you hear that? He said the building is his. Ha ha ha. Has he lost his mind? Trash collector hallucinations. Lu Shan laughed too. A sharp, sarcastic sound. She walked over to me, looking down from her height. Mo, do you even know whose building that is? You know Moke Group, the AI company, raised hundreds of millions last year. You say that building is yours, while you drive a junk van and collect scrap. I know. I said, it's mine, right? Right, it's yours. The whole world is yours. She pulled out her phone and waved it. Should I call the psych ward for you? Her friend was doubled over. Come on, Shan, let's go. What's the point arguing with a crazy person? Zhao Kai's probably here already. Don't keep him waiting. They click-clacked out on their heels, their laughter audible through the glass door. I stayed seated, watching their figures merge into the street crowd. Lu Shan pulled out her phone, calling Zhao Kai, her voice carrying. Oh, you're here. Great. I'm coming out. Yeah, just met a total weirdo. I'll tell you later. The cafe fell quiet. The waiter came over to clear their almost full lattes and shot me a complicated look. She'd clearly heard everything. I pulled out my phone. Several unread messages, all from the company. The latest was from my right-hand man, Zhou Shin. Mr. Shin Jipping has a 3 p.m. meeting with Qihong people today. B Tower Underground Garage. The bid documents. Confirmed compromised. I replied. Received. I set down the phone, pulled a 20 from my wallet, left it on the table, and walked out. The June sun was strong, warm on my face. I crossed the street and stood beneath Moke Tower, looking up at the 4 golden characters. This building. From foundation to topping out. I hadn't missed a single brick. Of course. My aunt didn't know. Lu Shan didn't know. Almost no one knew. All they knew was that Moke Group's young founder, Chen Mo, had stepped back from the front lines 2 years ago, supposedly for health reasons, and hadn't been seen in public since. They didn't know that the founder, the one recuperating, that drove a scrap van around the city every day, picking up waste. And while he was at it, he was systematically tagging every piece of trash inside his own company. I lit a cigarette. My phone buzzed again. Zhou Shin again. Also, Zhao Kai brought a woman to the office today. Looking around. New girlfriend maybe. Should we intervene, Zhao Kai? I exhaled smoke, looking at my reflection in the glass curtain wall. Pilling jacket. Overgrown hair. Unshaven jaw. I did look like a junkman. Let him look around. I typed back. I stubbed out the cigarette, got into the van, and turned the key. The engine coughed twice before catching. The AC was long dead. The cab was an oven. I rolled down the window and gave Moke Tower one last look. Zhao Kai, enjoy your tour. Every brick in this building. I laid them. The ground you walk on. I built. The respect you're trading on. I gave you. And you have no idea. I shifted into gear. The van chugged forward. In the rear view, Moke Tower grew smaller, but the gilded letters only seemed to grow clearer. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Chinmo's voice came through, shrill and furious. What the hell is wrong with you? Where did those messages come from? You'll regret this. What are you playing at? Don't you dare harass me. I hung up and blocked the number. Patience. Lu Shan. Today has only just started. In half an hour, you'll be the one adding me back. And Zhao Kai. I hit the brakes at a red light, gripping the wheel, watching the crowd move through the crosswalk. I smiled slightly. Zhao Kai, you'd better pray you quit today, because in half an hour, the whole building's security team is going to line up and shout boss at me. And you'll be standing right next to me, holding my blind date's hand, introducing yourself as my driver. The light turned green. The van wobbled forward. I drove the van for 20 minutes in the ring road traffic before turning into an unremarkable alley. Behind Moke Tower lay an old residential district. At the end of the alley, a disused underground garage entrance was blocked by a rusted gate with a sign, construction site. In unauthorized entry. I parked inside and went down to B2. There, a fire door. So unremarkable you'd walk past it 100 times without noticing. Fingerprint scan. Elevator. Up. When the doors opened, I was on the 17th floor of Moke Tower's B wing. Officially, this was a mechanical floor. In reality, it was my real office. 2 years ago, after I'd retreated from headquarters, I'd set up shop here with only 3 people. Zhou Shun, Old Gao, and Xiao Lin, who handled front desk and logistics. Mr. Chun. Zhou Shin appeared as the door opened. He was 34, wore black-rimmed glasses, and always had his sleeves rolled to his elbows. My college roommate and my first hire, when things were at their worst. He'd worked on IOUs for 18 months. I hung my jacket on the coat rack, grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge, Zhou Shin spread several files on the table. Shin Jipping point 3 p.m. today. On time. B Tower. B3 Garage. Plate G6789. Contact is a guy called Old K from Chihong. Likely their number 2. Wang Jinquan. Exact identity still pending. I took a sip. How much of the bid did we lose? The entire A-scheme pricing structure. Almost everything. Zhou Shin adjusted his glasses. The city's smart transit project. Total bid is 180 million. If Chihong gets our floor price, all they need is 5% under to eat our lunch. Mr. Chun, if we don't move soon, it's over. I leaned back, studying the ceiling. A long, thin crack ran across it. A flaw from construction. I'd told old Gao not to patch it. I looked at it every day. It reminded me where I'd climbed from. How long has Shin Jipping been with us? 8 years. 1 year longer than you. Zhou Shin said. Technical VP. You recruited him from Huawei. Gave him equity. 8 years. 180 million. I laughed. 8 years of loyalty. And it's worth 9 million in spread. Zhou Shin didn't respond. The office was quiet for a moment. The hum of the AC mixing with distant construction drills from downstairs. A building like this always had someone renovating. Close the net, I said, tossing the empty bottle in the trash. Have old Gao pull the surveillance footage. Clear. No blind spots. Also, contact lawyer Zhang. Tell him to prepare materials. Corporate espionage plus embezzlement. Shin Jipping's been in our D this long. There's no way his hands are clean. Dig deep. Understood. Zhou Shin scribbled in his notebook, then looked up. And Zhao Kai. He brought someone to tour the office today. Yeah? A woman. New girlfriend. Apparently. Security reported he took her from the lobby all the way up to the top floor. Gave her a tour of every department. Practically pointed at the Moat Group logo on the wall and told her it was his. I laughed. He really thinks this place is his. Should we do something? Zhou Shin asked. He used to be your driver. But he's in logistics now. Still officially an employee. Bringing outsiders in. Taking photos. Leaking stuff? Let him tour. I said. I want to see what kind of show he can put on. Zhou Shin looked puzzled. Mr. Chun, think about it. I picked up the photo frame on my desk and wiped it. Inside was a picture of my parents. Both gone 2 years ago. Within a month of each other. Cancer and a heart attack. Like they'd coordinated. Zhao Kai's been here 3 years. Started with me in year 2. If he had nothing to hide, I could arrange him however I wanted. But he's hiding something. Block him. And he gets cautious. Let him perform. Let him feel in control. Zhou Shin caught on. You want to fish with him? Who's above him? Shin Jipping. Exactly. I put the frame back. Zhao Kai runs logistics. Once the city project hits, who authorizes equipment procurement? Logistics. Shin Jipping placed him there. Guess why? Zhou Shin's eyes lit up. So they're connected. Zhao Kai is Shin Jipping's guy. Shin Jipping is Chihong's guy. Same rope. I walked to the window. This floor faced southeast, looking over the main entrance plaza below. The square teemed with people. Suits. Workwear. Coming and going. I scanned for a moment and spotted 2 familiar figures near the fountain. One. In a navy suit, Zhao Kai. Beside him, in a white dress, Lu Shanshan. Too far to read expressions, but I could see Zhao Kai's arm go around her shoulder. Lu Shanshan's head tilted back in laughter. He was gesturing toward the building's facade, probably telling her how much the glass curtain wall cost, how the lobby marble was imported from Italy. Zhou Shin peered over. That's her. The woman you met today? Yep. That was fast. Zhou Shin sounded almost exasperated. You haven't even been apart an hour. He's got skills. I said. Good for me. Honestly. Saves me the trouble. She's made her choice. Clean break on my end. Zhou Shin shot me a look, but didn't press. He'd known me for 15 years. He knew what I meant when I said clean. I didn't feel anything for Lu Shanshan. Just a blind date. Set up by my aunt. She'd picked Zhao Kai. That made things simple for me. But I wasn't going to let Zhao Kai walk free. Pull all purchase orders Zhao Kai signed in the last 3 months. I said. Especially hardware-related. Already on it. Zhou Shin said. Old Gao started digging 2 days ago. He flagged several orders with prices noticeably above market. Traced the suppliers that they're third-tier subsidiaries of Chihong. Good. I nodded. Locked down the evidence. Got it. Also, Mr. Chun. Zhou Shin hesitated. Shin Jipping's meeting with Chihong this afternoon. Do you want to? I'll go. I said. 3 o'clock. B3 parking garage. You don't come. I'll handle it myself. Zhou Shin started to object, but I cut him off. He sighed. All right. I'll coordinate with old Gao in the security room. You'll have full camera access. I checked my phone. 1.50. Just over an hour. On the plaza below, Zhao Kai and Lu Shanshan had entered the lobby's main doors. A security guard jogged over to open the revolving door for them. Zhao Kai nodded back at the guard like a VIP on inspection. I grabbed my jacket from the rack. Going out for some air, Zhou Shen nodded. Be careful. I took the service elevator to B1. Through a maintenance corridor that fed into an internal passage not marked on any public map. It opened onto a side entrance at ground level. When I emerged, Zhao Kai and Lu Shanshan were just entering the lobby. Through the glass, I could see Lu Shanshan's head tilted back, staring up at the massive crystal chandelier in the lobby. Her mouth forming an O. Zhao Kai leaned in. Said something. She laughed, swatting his arm. A playful, affectionate gesture. I stood in the shadows of the side entrance and watched for a moment. My van was parked in the alley. I wore my pilling jacket and worn canvas sneakers. The plaza's steady traffic flowed past. Not a single person gave me a second glance. Good. I lit a cigarette. Wind channeled between buildings, shredding the smoke. I leaned against the marble column and watched the two of them pass under the chandelier and walk toward the elevators. Zhao Kai pressed the button, said something to Lu Shanshan. She smiled, bright-eyed. The elevator arrived. They stepped inside. The doors closed. The numbers began to climb. The cigarette burned to the filter. I stubbed it out and dropped it in the trash. My phone buzzed. An unknown number sent a text. Chen Mo. I'm not going to report you for harassing me, but don't contact me again. My boyfriend's got 100 times more going for you than you do. Get over yourself. I didn't reply. Pockets in. I walked toward the van. 2:10 p.m. 50 minutes until Shun Jiping's meeting. I got in, started the engine, and glanced in the rear view. The face looking back needed a shave. Hair needed cutting. I'd been playing Junkman a little too convincingly these last few months. I backed the van out and headed toward the underground garage. Lu Shanshan. I've saved that text. In half an hour, you'll send another. The content will be something like, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please let me explain. The van rolled into the underground garage. The gate scanned my plates and lifted automatically. The guard in the booth poked his head out, recognized the van, and ducked right back in. He knew to pretend he hadn't seen it, because the gate system ran on code I'd written. The plates were whitelisted internally, with the access level listed as chairman. In the whole company, only 2 people knew who owned this beat-up van. Me, and the security captain who'd helped me install the system. Soon there would be a third. I parked, cut the engine, and leaned back in the seat. Eyes closed. 3 p.m. Shinjiping. I'd been waiting 2 years for this. I dozed in the van for 20 minutes. Woken by my phone alarm. 2:50. The underground garage was quiet. B3 was mostly empty. A few dusty work vehicles in the corners. I adjusted my seat, pulled a baseball cap from the glove box, and put it on, brim low. Then I got out and moved to stand behind a support pillar. From this angle, I had a clear view of the entire B3 entrance ramp. Shinjiping would have to come down from the upper floors of B-Wing. This was the only route. 2:55. A black Audi A6L turned onto the ramp. Plate G6789. It pulled into the VIP spot farthest from the elevators. But Shinjiping didn't get out immediately. He sat in the driver's seat for about 2 minutes, looking at his phone, probably confirming the time, or waiting for a reply. 2:58. Shinjiping stepped out. Gray sports jacket, no tied-up dress like he'd just stepped out for lunch. He locked the car, stood beside it, lit a cigarette. 3:00 sharp. A dark blue Buick GL8 came down the ramp, stopping across from the Audi. The window rolled down a crack. No one got out. Shinjiping stubbed his cigarette, walked over, and bent to speak through the gap. Then he went around the van and slid open the side door. Climbing in. I pulled out my phone and opened the surveillance app. Full admin access. Real-time footage from every camera in the building. I pulled up camera B3-07 and saw inside the Buick. The angle was limited, but I caught Shinjiping's profile. Next to him sat a middle-aged man in a baseball cap. Likely Wang Junquan from Qihong. They were talking. The interior lights were on. I could see light reflecting off Shinjiping's phone screen. He was showing the other man something. Probably the bid documents. I recorded the screen. Screenshotted. Put the phone back in my pocket. 3:20. The Buick drove off. Shinjiping stepped out, smoothed his jacket, and got into his Audi. The engine caught, and he drove up the ramp. I stayed behind the pillar for 2 full minutes before stepping out of the shadows. Time to move. But not yet. Shinjiping's thread needed to be pulled at the precise moment the day the city project officially opened. What I had now was enough to indict him. but not enough to end him in this industry. I wanted him to never work in this field again. Zhao Kai was a smaller target. I could take him anytime. I got back in the van and made a call. Old Gal picked up after a few rings. Mr. Chun, you got the video, all saved. Plus I had a parabolic mic installed near Zhao Kai's desk. Caught some interesting audio. He was bragging to the girlfriend about the office tour. Don't move on him yet. Let him talk. Got it. I started the van. Keep an eye on him. Point one more thing. Mr. Chun. Zhao Kai took the woman to the 17th floor. I hit the brakes. Which 17th? The mechanical floor. He tried to get into your office. Wanted to show her the chairman's office. I guess. But his badge doesn't open that door. He swiped twice. Couldn't get in. Cursed. Then left. I leaned back, staring up the ramp. The 17th floor door, the one behind which my real office Saturday, was accessible to only 3 people. Zhao Kai thought it was just a storage room, but he tried to access it. That meant he wanted to know something. He's suspicious. I asked. Hard to say. Old Gal said. Honestly, I think he just wanted to show off. Thought his badge opened every door. The girlfriend laughed at him. I thought you could go anywhere in the building. He looked pretty embarrassed. But then he took her to 18 and pointed at the glass door outside the chairman's office and said, "That's my boss's office." She seemed satisfied. I laughed. He took her to my office to look at it through the glass. Couldn't get in, but he played the part well. My boss hasn't been well lately. He's not in the office. But if he were, I'd introduce you. The van exited the garage. Sunlight flooding the cab. I squinted and kept driving, running all the threads through my head. Xinjiang, Qihong, the city project, Zhao Kai, Lu Shanshan, everyone and everything, gathering in my hands like a net that I didn't know when Lu Shanshan would realize the hole she'd stepped into. But I knew she'd regret it today. Old Gal, I said, watch Zhao Kai. When's he leaving today? Front desk said he has dinner plans with the girl that probably slips out around 5 or 6. Good. I'll be in the office this afternoon. At 5:30. Have the security team assemble in the plaza. I've got something arranged. What kind of something? I smiled. A gift for Zhao Kai and his new girlfriend. After I hung up, I looped the van back to Moke Tower's main plaza. I parked in the pay lot across the street, killed the engine, and watched 3:40 p.m. Zhao Kai and Lu Shanshan emerged from the revolving doors. Zhao Kai had changed into a sharper black suit with a fresh tie. Lu Shanshan's bag was different, that she'd gone in with a small crossbody. Now she carried a branded shopping bag from the luxury boutique in the building's retail section. Zhao Kai had clearly spent today's budget on her. They stood by the fountain for a while. Zhao Kai checked his phone. Lu Shanshan took selfies. Then she leaned in to look at his screen. Heads together. Laughing. His phone rang. His face shifted to something more serious. He stepped aside, turning his back to her, even from a distance. I could see him nodding. That was how a subordinate took a call from his superior. When he hung up, he said something to Lu Shanshan, and they headed to the curb. A Passat pulled up. Zhao Kai opened the rear door for Lu Shanshan, then got into the driver's seat. I noted the plate, ending in E783. A company fleet vehicle from logistics. Zhao Kai had started as my driver. While I'd been away, Xinjiang had promoted him to Deputy Logistics Director, with a company CAR.my car. My gas, my blind date, my building. I didn't know whether to laugh or be angry. I chose laughter, because it would all end soon. My phone buzzed. This time, a WhatsApp friend request. Profile picture, a pink lotus flower. Nickname, Shanshan. Note, Chinemo. You blocked me. Really, I might have said some harsh things. But look at your situation. We were never a match. You know it. I swiped ignore. 5 seconds later, another request. Please respond. I need to talk. What did you mean by you'll regret it? Do you know Zhao Kai? Still ignored? Outside, the sky was beginning to change. Summer evenings came late. The sun was still hanging low, setting the glass curtain wall of Moke Tower ablaze in gold and red. I reclined the seat and lay back. My phone vibrated repeatedly. Friend requests from Lu Shanshan, each with a more urgent note. The last one read, Chinemo, who are you? What did Zhao Kai just tell me? Are you trying to ruin me? I didn't reply. I turned the phone face down on the passenger seat. What Zhao Kai told her, I could guess. Either Zhou Shun or Old Gao had tipped him off that logistics purchasing was being audited. Zhao Kai, in his guilt, had either said something to her, or he thought my harassment was related. Either way, Lu Shanshan was panicking. I wasn't ready to respond, yet 5:20 p.m. I opened my eyes and looked out. The sun had sunk halfway below the horizon, the gold turning to orange. People were starting to trickle out of Moke Tower's main entrance. Quitting time. I sat up, took off the baseball cap, ran a hand through my hair. Then I pulled out my phone and messaged old Gao. Start. He replied with an okay emoji. I got out of the van, locked it, and crossed the street. As I approached the edge of the plaza, I saw through the revolving glass doors a dozen security guards in black uniforms, lined up neatly from the lobby to the entrance. Old Gao stood at the front, chest out, back straight. Beside him was my VP of HR, Dong, in a gray suit. People passing by on the plaza stopped to stare. Phones came out. I walked forward. Dong saw me approaching. His lips parted, but I gave him a small shake of my head. I stopped about 20 yards from the revolving doors, just in time, because Zhao Kai and Lu Shanshan stepped out. Lu Shanshan came first, Zhao Kai a half step behind, smiling. They'd clearly just finished browsing the retail stores downstairs. Lu Shanshan carried 2 more shopping bags. She looked up, laughing at something Zhao Kai said, and froze when she saw me. Her smile congealed. Confusion. Then she saw the formation of security guards behind me, saw the massive building towering behind them, lit orange in the sunset. Confusion became disbelief, then shock. Zhao Kai followed her gaze. He saw me too. His face did something strange, like he was trying to place someone familiar. I didn't move. Behind me, the security team leader drew a deep breath and bellowed, "Good evening, boss." The shout cut across the plaza, above the noise of the crowd. Everyone stopped. Zhao Kai and Lu Shanshan stood by the revolving doors, maybe 30 feet away. Lu Shanshan's face went through an extraordinary transformation, the curve of a laugh still frozen on her lips, but her eyes already in chaos. She looked at me, then at the rows of security guards behind me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish on the shore. Zhao Kai's face was worse than hers. He stared at me for 3 or 4 full seconds, his gaze traveling from my face to my jacket to my sneakers. In those seconds, I watched sweat break out on his forehead. His Adam's apple bobbed. His jaw tightened. Then he did something I didn't expect. He stepped forward 0.2 paces, putting himself in front of Lu Shanshan. He forced a laugh toward the security team. His voice raised unnaturally high. "What's this about? Who told you to gather here?" One responded. All eyes were on me. Old Gao stepped out of the formation, walked steadily to within 2 steps of me, and stopped. He turned slightly, nodded at me, then faced the crowd that had gathered. His voice wasn't loud, but each word carried. "All Moke Group employees, attention. At 5:30 p.m. today, Group founder and chairman Chen is on site for an inspection. Please proceed in an orderly manner." Zhao Kai's face went completely white. He whipped his head toward me, eyes full of disbelief. Behind him, Lu Shanshan let out a tiny, choked sound like someone had just grabbed her by the throat. A crowd had already gathered. Moke employees, passers-by, delivery drivers with their phones out filming. Zhao Kai gritted his teeth and forced a smile that looked more like a grimace. He took a step toward me. Chen Mo, you're that scrap collector. I collect scrap, I said, and I collect companies. Zhao Kai's lips twitched. He seemed about to spit something vicious, but Lu Shanshan grabbed his arm from behind, her nails digging in. He looked back at her, then at me again. Shock, panic, disbelief churned together, finally solidifying into something like hysterical denial. He pointed at me, shouting at Lu Shanshan, "That's impossible. He's a junkman. I know him. 2 years ago he drove that piece of shit van, collecting scrap behind our building. I saw it with my own eyes." "How long have you worked here?" I asked. Zhao Kai blinked. What? "How long have you been at Moke?" 3 years. 3 years. I lit a cigarette. "I've been building this company for 8. The year you joined. We just closed our Series A. When you applied for the driver position, your resume landed on my desk for approval. You wore a dark blue polo to the interview. Sleeve had a stain on it. You said you were a veteran, a steady driver." Zhao Kai's lips were white. "I hired you personally," I said, exhaling, "because you were steady, and because I thought a veteran would be reliable." Lu Shanshan had gone completely still. She released Zhao Kai's arm and took a step back, her gaze darting between us. Her hands were trembling. She was wearing that cream-white dress, still looking as proud as a peacock from noon. But her shoulders were hunched now, as she looked 10 years older. "You." Zhao Kai's voice broke. Weren't you supposed to be sick? You stepped down 2 years ago. Who told you that?" I asked. That he opened his mouth. Nothing came out. I pointed at him with my cigarette. Shin jipping. Zhao Kai's pupils contracted. I stubbed out the cigarette in the nearby trash can and waved at old Gao and Dong. "Dismiss the team. Everyone go home." Zhao Kai. You come with me. I turned and walked toward the revolving doors. 2 steps, and I heard Zhao Kai's voice from behind. Wait. I stopped. Turned out he stood there, chest heaving, veins bulging in his neck. He lunged forward, grabbing Lu Shanshan's wrist and pulling her close, shouting toward me, "You planned this, didn't you? This whole blind date was your setup. You set me up. You watched me take her around the company, just so you could humiliate me in front of everyone." The plaza went silent. Someone in the crowd gasped that I didn't respond. Zhao Kai kept going, his fear curdling into rage. Or maybe he thought that blowing up in public would make him look less pathetic. He pointed at me, shouting at the onlookers, "You all see this? This is your chairman, a junkman in a broken van. He faked being poor for a blind date and hired these actors to put on this show." Zhao Kai. I cut him off. "Did I tell you to bring Lu Shanshan to tour the office?" He choked. "You drove my car, spent my gas, bought her gifts with my company card. You brought her to my building, pointed at my tower, and called it your boss's place. You've been feeding Qihong Company secrets behind my back, selling my bid documents for kickbacks that I didn't." Zhao Kai's voice went shrill, but I wasn't looking at him anymore. I turned to Lu Shanshan. She stood there, like all her bones had been removed. The shopping bags had fallen to the ground. A folded dress was spilling out, tags still attached. "Lu Shanshan," I said, "you were right. I drive a broken van. I collect scrap. I'm not good enough for you. But don't get it twisted that today's blind date wasn't my plan. It was my aunt's arrangement. She doesn't know what I do. Neither does my family. I came here today genuinely intending to meet you." My voice was flat, uninflected, but Lu Shanshan's eyes were reddening. "As for you choosing Zhao Kai." I glanced at her. "That's your choice. But you should know, Zhao Kai is currently under investigation for corporate espionage and embezzlement. 2 counts. You can look up the sentencing guidelines yourself." Zhao Kai lunged. Old Gao stepped between us in one smooth motion. Zhao Kai screamed over his shoulder, "You bastard! You've been setting me up all along. This is a trap. You stole company secrets. I didn't make you do that." I looked him in the eye. "You came to me 3 years ago, in that blue polo, and said, 'Don't worry, boss. I'm a steady driver. I trusted you.' And this is what you did with that trust." Zhao Kai went rigid. All the noise died in his throat. His face cycled through colors. White, red, purple. He stood frozen behind Old Gao's arm, shoulders shaking. Lu Shanshan's tears finally fell. She stumbled forward on her heels, almost falling, and caught herself, reaching toward me. "Chinimo, listen. I didn't know. I really didn't know. I know you didn't," I said. "But now you do." I turned and walked through the revolving doors. Security held them open. The lobby light washed over me, stretching my shadow long behind me. Zhao Kai was still shouting something muffled as Old Gao and another guard restrained him. Lu Shanshan was crying my name, her voice cracking with despair. The crystal chandelier blazed above. The marble floors gleamed. Every step echoed in the vast space that I walked through the lobby. The receptionist stood, bowed. The elevator attendant opened the private elevator doors and inclined his head before I stepped in. I looked back through the glass. The crowd hadn't dispersed. Zhao Kai was pinned down by 3 guards. Lu Shanshan had crouched to pick up her fallen shopping bags, her shoulders heaving. She looked up toward the revolving doors, tear-streaked, her lips forming my name. The elevator doors closed. The numbers climbed. I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. My heart was racing. My temples throbbed. 2 years ago, I'd been in this same building, in my real office on the 17th floor, waiting for Shun Jiping to show up for a meeting. He never came. He sent his assistant to tell me I should step back and rest, that I needed to take care of my health. By then, he'd already lined up 4 board members. With himself, that was a majority. He told me with that fake smile, "Get well, and come back when you're ready." I didn't even have room to get angry. 2 years. The elevator opened on 17. The hallway was empty. Zhou Shun and Old Gao were already waiting at the office door. Old Gao's uniform shoulder was twisted, damaged when he'd restrained Zhao Kai. "He's being held in the property management office," Old Gao said. "Qiandong's watching him. You want to call the police? Or call them. Have lawyer Zhang start the process." And Lu Shanshan. I thought for a moment. "Let her go." Zhou Shun blinked. "She was crying downstairs, begging to see you. Let her go. She's not my concern anymore." I walked into the office and sat down. Only then did I notice my hands were shaking. I clenched them, pressed them flat on the desk. Zhou Shun followed, handed me a cup of warm water. I took a sip. Perfect temperature. He'd prepared it in advance. Mr. Chun, Qiandong called. "Shin Jiping knows something's up. Zhou said. How? Zhao Kai shouted a few things when he was taken down. Crowd was filming. Someone put it on social media. It's spreading fast. Xin Jiping probably saw it. Let him see. I set the cup down. I was going to move on him today anyway. Have lawyer Zhang go to his office first thing tomorrow. Collect his badge. Laptop. All access. His permissions were revoked at 5:30 p.m. today. Zhou nodded. Then hesitated. The city project bid. Qihong has our floor price. But they won't get the final draft. No. I said. The version I leaked was fake. The real bid is 20% higher than the dummy. If Qihong undercuts that by 5 points, they'll lose 2 million on the contract. Zhou paused. Then he laughed out a rare sight, his eyes crinkling at the edges. Mr. Chun, you kept this from me too. It made your reactions natural when you took Xin Jiping's calls. If he'd read anything on your face, he wouldn't have shown up today. The office fell quiet. Outside, the sky was darkening. City lights flickered on one by one. From the 17th floor, the southeast quadrant of the city spread below in scattered points of light. I stood and walked to the window. My reflection stared back at me. Clean-shaven, in a fresh shirt, I finally looked like a normal person. Down in the plaza, the crowd was gone. The security team had stood down. Zhao Kai had been loaded into a black SUV and taken to the property office. Lu Shanshan was gone too, but one of her shopping bags lay abandoned by the fountain. My phone buzzed on the desk. I walked over and picked it up. WhatsApp requests had piled up again. Lu Shanshan's avatar sat at the top with a long note. Shinimo, please answer. Let me explain. I didn't know who you were. I know I said awful things. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I didn't know the situation. Give me one chance. I'm begging you. I swiped it away. Further down. My aunt. Shinimo, what are you doing? Shanshan called me crying. Said you had people harassing her. What's going on? Call me. I didn't reply to my aunt. I put the phone on silent. Zhou had left. I was alone in the office. Outside, the city was fully dark. Moke Tower blazed like a great ship anchored in the cityscape. I stood at the window, looking at my reflection. The face hadn't changed in 2 years, but something was different. 2 years ago, when Xin Jiping pushed me out, I'd smiled, and inside was all hatred. Now the same face smiled, but there was nothing inside. I picked up the photo frame and wiped it again. My parents' faces looked back at me. They'd left too soon. They never got to see me build this tower. Never got to see me pull out everyone who'd tried to gut the company. But I saw it for them. I put the frame down and picked up the phone. This time, I dialed. It rang for a while before picking up. Hello? A young voice. Mildly surprised. Qihong. I said. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. The city project bid opening. Your Mr. Wang should be ready by now. A pause. Then a laugh. Mr. Chun, you're calling pretty late. I've been waiting all day. Not too late. I said. The night is still young. I hung up and tossed the phone on the desk. Leaning back, I stared at the ceiling. The crack was still there, stretching quietly under the light. When they'd done the renovation, the workers hadn't fixed it properly. I'd told old Gao to leave it, because every time I looked up and saw it, I remembered what I'd climbed over to get here. And today, I'd finally kicked down everyone who'd tried to climb over me. Outside, sirens approached and stopped at the front entrance. I didn't sleep that night. Not from excitement. I just couldn't. At 3 a.m., I was still sitting in the office. Documents spread across the desk. I'd read the final city project bid 3 times. Zhou had finally gone home to sleep. Old Gao stayed in the property office to watch Zhao Kai. I'd sent Zhao Kai a boxed meal and water the guy had to eat. After all that he didn't eat. Old Gao texted. He's just sitting there. He asked once if he could see you. I said after the legal process starts. He didn't ask again. I drifted off at dawn. Face down on the desk. Woke before 6. Splashed water on my face. Shaved. Pulled a bespoke suit from the back of the office closet tailored 2 years ago. Never worn. Covered in dust. I shook it out. Put it on. Looked in the mirror. Finally looked the part. 7 a.m. Zhou arrived. Dark circles under his eyes. Carrying a bag of steamed buns and soy milk. He set them on the desk. Looked at me. Did you sleep at all? A little. I bit into a bun. Pork and chive. Still my favorite. Xin Jiping. Came in at 6:30. Lawyer Zhang met him at the office door. Collected his badge. Laptop. Access card. He tried to call out, but IT had locked his permissions. He's waiting in the conference room. Wants to meet with you. What does he want? Say he'll voluntarily surrender his equity stake. Transfer all shares back to the company. No charge. In exchange, you don't press charges. I drank the soy milk. Didn't respond. Zhou waited. What do you think? 8 years of equity. even transferred at zero, is more than he'll ever need. He wants to buy his freedom with company money. Then what's your decision? Let him wait. I set the cup down. I don't have time today. City project bid opening. I'm going in person. Zhou Shun's eyes brightened. You're going yourself? Yes. You're coming with me. I picked up the file folder. Old Gao, send Zhao Kai's materials to lawyer Zhang. Then bring a team with us. Bid docs. Surveillance. Audio. Purchase orders. Everything. Zhou Shun nodded. Then hesitated. What about Shin Jiping? He can wait until I get back. I grabbed my jacket and headed out. If he wants to talk, he can sit there till this afternoon. If he doesn't want to wait. The doors opened. The elevator. My phone buzzed. Unknown local number. I answered. Shinemo. The voice was hoarse, like he hadn't slept. Zhao Kai. I stopped. Looked back at Zhou Shun. He got the message. Held the elevator. How did you get this number? The guard lent me his phone. Zhao Kai's voice was flat, and nothing like the hysterical man in the plaza yesterday. Mr. Chun, I want to say a few things. Go ahead. A long silence. Heavy breathing. Then, I admit it. The bid leak. That was me. Shin Jiping directed it. He gave me the documents. Told me to pass them to Qihong. 3,000 every time. 6 times total. Less than 20,000 total. That's it. The purchasing kickbacks. I admit that too. Those suppliers were Qihong subsidiaries. I inflated the prices and took 40% of the difference. About 120,000 altogether. Mr. Chun. His voice shook. I know I'm done, but I'm asking one thing. Don't drag Lu Shanshan into this. She doesn't know anything. Today she was foolish. She let someone show her around. She didn't do anything wrong. Don't go after her. I leaned against the elevator frame. The hallway lights glaring. Zhao Kai. I said, I never planned to go after Lu Shanshan. She's nothing to me. What you need to confess, that's your own life. Is there anything else? Long silence. I thought he'd hung up. One more thing. Zhao Kai's voice dropped. Shin Jiping wasn't only working with Qihong. He's connected to Yuanda too. Yuanda. I frowned. An industrial robotics firm. Overlapping, but not direct competitors with Moke's direction. Yuanda. I repeated. Shin Jiping gave them our technology roadmap. About a year ago. What exactly did he give them? I don't know the details. But he met with Yuanda people monthly. Sometimes I drove him. I didn't follow the tech talk. But once I heard them say Nasdaq, my chest tightened. Shin Jiping had been planning to list something. But Moke's IPO had been shelved last year. The MY exit had made the board nervous. If Shin Jiping was tied up with Yuanda, all right. I said, tell this to lawyer Zhang. Mr. Chun. Zhao Kai's voice went urgent. I told you this. I was hopeful for what? Reduced sentence. I cut him off. Zhao Kai, you stole my bid documents. Took kickbacks. Sold company secrets. Telling me this is your obligation. Whether the court reduces your sentence, that's not my decision. I'm not going to help you. The line went quiet. Then a sound that could have been a laugh or a sob. I know. I just wanted you to know. I accepted. Yesterday, when I shouted at you in the plaza. I was out of line. I was scared. I know. I said. Mr. Chun. His voice cracked. When you hired me, you said veterans are reliable. I let you down. I held the phone. Standing in the hall. A cleaning woman with her cart came down the hall. Saw me. And stopped where she was. Morning light flooded through the windows. Zhao Kai. I said, you were a soldier. When a soldier makes a mistake, he carries the weight of it. Are you married? No, then no one else gets hurt. I hung up. Handed the phone back to Zhou Shun. He didn't ask. He pressed the elevator button. As we descended, I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. Zhao Kai. When I'd hired him, I genuinely believed he was solid. Veteran. Steady driver. Quiet. Efficient. I gave him a good job. From driver to deputy logistics director, quadrupling his salary. And he chose Shin Jiping's path. When the elevator opened on the ground floor, I opened my eyes. The lobby was full. Security guards in formation. Lawyer Zhang with 3 assistants carrying document cases. Qian Dong standing nearby. Mr. Chun. Lawyer Zhang approached. Everything's ready. Let's go. I walked toward the exit. Guards parted. Outside, 2 vehicles waited. A black Mercedes. My official car, which had been running empty for 2 years. Behind it, a GL8 van for the team. I got into the Mercedes. Zhou Shun in front. Old Gao driving. As the car pulled out of the plaza, I glimpsed a figure standing by a side pillar. Cream white dress. Hair undone. Tear-streaked face. Lu Shanshan. When she saw my car emerge, she lunged forward. But the plaza guard stopped her. Her lips were moving. I couldn't read her words through the glass. She looked destroyed. Shoulders collapsed. Wind whipping her hair. utterly unrecognizable from the proud woman of yesterday that I didn't tell old Gao to stop. He glanced in the rear view, said nothing, and accelerated. The Mercedes merged into morning traffic. In the mirror, Lu Shanshan's figure shrank, then disappeared behind a truck that I looked down at the bid documents in my hand. The city project bid opening was at the government bidding center, across from City Hall. 9.45. Our convoy arrived. I handed the bid folder to Zhou Shun and stepped out. Several company representatives stood outside, smoking and chatting. I spotted Wang Junquan from Qihong. He spotted me, 10 meters apart. Our eyes met. His smile froze. He'd heard the news that knew I'd come back, but he hadn't expected me to show up in person. I nodded at him. Didn't speak. His face darkened. He stubbed his cigarette and walked inside. We followed. As I entered the lobby, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. A text from an unsaved number, but I recognized the digits. Shen Jiping's personal phone. One line. Mo, you won one round, but I suggest you quit while you're ahead. Do you really think what you've uncovered is everything? I turned the screen off. Didn't reply. Zhou Shen leaned in. Shen Jiping. Yeah. Could he have tampered with the bid? The final draft, only you and I have copies. No one else has touched it. Shen Jiping only has the dummy version I leaked. I paused. But what does quit while you're ahead mean? Zhou Shen shook his head. We took the elevator to the 7th floor bid hall. Staff verified identities. Representatives from 6 companies filed in and sat down. 3 were familiar faces. 2 were strangers. The bidding proceeded by the book. Envelopes opened. Bids announced. Price comparisons. When Qihong's bid was read, Wang Junquan's face changed. He'd bid 4 points below my dummy price. But my real bid was less than 1 point above his. That meant if Qihong had based their bid on the fake numbers, they'd be losing almost 2 million. And they had bid exactly at that loss line. Wang Junquan snapped his head toward me, eyes bloodshot. He opened his mouth. But the bid officials had already moved to the review phase. I sat still, spinning a pen. Zhou Shen whispered, Mr. Chun, we did it. Not yet, I said. They'll review qualifications and past performance. Qihong is weaker there. But if they try something else. My phone buzzed. Again. Shen Jiping. This time. An image. I opened it. My pupils contracted. The photo showed a document on someone's desk. At the top, Moke Group Technology Roadmap, white paper. Our company seal stamped on the cover. Below it, Shen Jiping's caption. You and I is already signed. They have the full roadmap. Even if you win the city contract, you can't hold the market next year. Are you ready to talk now? I pocketed the phone and breathed deep. Zhou Shen noticed my expression. Mr. Chun, nothing. I smiled. Someone is still jumping out after the game is over. But my hand tightened around the phone. Shen Jiping, how many cards are you still holding? When the review results came in, Wang Junquan stood straight up from his seat. I demand a review. His voice echoed through the hall. Moke's qualifications are suspect. They used unpublished patents in their technical submission. Mr. Wang, the bid official looked up. Moke Group has submitted all valid patent certificates and licensing documents. All are verified. If you wish to appeal, please follow the formal procedure. Wang Junquan's face went red. His assistant tried to pull him back. He shook her off and stared in my direction. I stood, adjusted my suit, and gave him a slight bow. Better luck next time. Then I turned and walked out of the hall. Zhou Shun and old Gao behind me. Behind me, Wang Junquan's muffled roar. I didn't catch the words, but the tone was unmistakable. The hallway was bright with sunlight. Zhou Shun followed. His voice barely suppressed excitement. Mr. Chun. 180 million project. At 2 million above our floor. This secures Moke for the second half. Second half will be dealt with later. I cut him off. First, we clean up what's in front of us. Old Gao. Get back to the office. Secure Shen Jiping. Lawyer Zhang. Go with old Gao. Compile Zhao Kai's testimony into a formal report. The U&A angle. Put that in a separate file for now. Don't move on it yet. Everyone split off. I got into the Mercedes and told the driver to wait. I called Zhou Shun from the back seat. The roadmap, white paper Shen Jiping sent me. When did he access it? I checked the archive borrowing records. Zhou Shun said, his voice turning serious. No one's requested it in 3 months. But if Shen Jiping copied it a year ago, he's been here 8 years. He could have copied anything. I closed my eyes. The problem isn't that he has it. The problem is what U&A can do with it. U&A makes industrial robots that overlap in tech, but different markets. If they get our roadmap, either they fill their own gaps, or they enter our niche market first. I opened my eyes. We were launching that new human-machine interface system in the second half. If Yuanda has the architecture design, they beat us to it. Shun Jiping mentioned NASDAQ. Joshin added, Yuanda might be preparing for an IPO and needs our tech to boost valuation. Exactly. I looked out the window. Start investigating. Have IT pull Shun Jiping's access logs to every device, every file. Focus on communications with Yuanda. Get legal to draft an infringement suit at the moment we confirm he sent tech assets to Yuanda. We file. Understood. And Shun Jiping himself. Let him wait. I hung up. Through the window. The street across from the bidding center was crowded with people. I scrolled my contacts and found my aunt's number. She answered on the 7th ring. Chinemo, you finally called. What did you do yesterday? Shanshan cried all night. Auntie. I cut her off gently. What did Lu Shanshan tell you? She said you had people bullying her. That you're some big shot boss. Where did you get money to be a boss? Are you doing something illegal? Annie. Listen. I softened my tone. I went to the blind date genuinely. But Lu Shanshan thought I was poor. And she left with someone else. That person was one of my employees who stole from me and got caught. Lu Shanshan just happened to be with him on a tour. I didn't bully her. A long silence. My aunt's voice dropped. You really are a boss. Yes. That building. It's yours. Yes. Another silence. Then her voice cracked. Chinemo, you kept this from me for 2 years. When your father passed, you couldn't even afford a decent funeral. You said you were working a regular job. Now you tell me you own a building. That you're a boss. Back then, Auntie, I said softly, those 2 years, there were things I couldn't say. People were trying to take my company. I couldn't let anyone know I was still in play, or they'd have destroyed me. Now I've cleaned house. And I'm telling you to sniffle. And Shanshan, Lu Shanshan, and I are done. She made her choice. The man she chose broke the law. Justice will take its course. Auntie, don't get involved. I won't. A sigh. Just take care of yourself. You've always carried things alone. I said a few more family things and hung up. Outside, the June sun was bright. The plane trees along the street glossy green. I told the driver to head back to the office. But something nagged at me. Yuanda, Shun Jiping's last move. He'd had 8 years in the company. Touched countless projects and technologies. If he'd handed our core assets to Yuanda, Moke's entire next year roadmap would have to be thrown out, but it couldn't be rushed. First, I needed to stabilize the company. Let everyone know the chairman was back. When the car arrived at Moke Tower, it was almost noon. I went straight up to 17, changed into a more formal suit, then came back down to the lobby. The lobby was busy. Lunch hour. Employees trickling out. When they saw me emerge from the private elevator, people did double takes. Someone recognized me. Whispered to the person next to them, and everyone stopped. I nodded at the group. Go eat. Everyone to the main conference room at 2 p.m. All hands meeting. A chorus of good afternoon. Mr. Chin followed me. Guards parted. The receptionist stood at attention, near the lobby's side seating area. I saw Shun Jiping. 2 security escorts flanked him, still in his gray jacket, but looking markedly worse. Disheveled. Dark circles. He stood when he saw me. Chinemo. He called my name. I stopped. 3 meters away. The guards tensed, but I raised a hand. Are you letting me go? Or holding a public trial? Shun Jiping smiled. A forced stretch of his lips. Which would you prefer? Let me be clear. Shun Jiping's voice was level. You know about Yuanda. You know what I'm holding. You took the city project. I'll concede that. But if you push me, I'll sell those technology assets to the highest bidder. And you can't stop me. You already sold them, some of it. He admitted it without shame. The full white paper. But I also have the RD team architecture design. If I sell that to Yuanda, they save 18 months of development costs. Guess what they'd pay for it? I looked into his eyes. 8 years of working together. I knew that face. When I'd recruited him from Huawei, he'd said, don't worry, Mr. Chun. I've done 20 years in tech, and I've never let anyone down. When the company was at its worst, he'd pulled all-nighters with the RD team. Eyes bloodshot. I truly believed he was my most trusted person. People change. Shun Jiping, you think I can't touch you because you have our core technology? I asked. He raised an eyebrow. I encrypted all the technical documents months ago. That white paper you copied. It was version 1. An outdated architecture design I left as a decoy. The real version. Only 3 core RD people know where it is. The version you gave Yuanda can't be used for anything except making them waste time on patent filings. Shun Jiping's face went still. Did you think everything you saw was real? I stepped closer. When I seemed to leave 2 years ago, did you really believe I was gone? You planted your people throughout the company. Zhao Kai. Lee in procurement. That junior accountant that you thought you had deep penetration. But did you ever wonder if any of them were my people? Shen Jiping's pupils contracted. Li was introduced by Zhao Kai. Zhao Kai was your promotion. But Li's background check showed he used to work for Qihong. Did you know that? Shen Jiping's lips parted. No words, you didn't know. I smiled. Zhao Kai never told you. He and Li are on the same side. But Li was mine. From the day Zhao Kai introduced you to Qihong, I already knew. The lobby was silent. Employees who'd been pretending to pass by had all stopped. Dozens of eyes on us. Sweat beaded on Shen Jiping's forehead. He stepped back, hit the sofa armrest, and stumbled. You? His voice cracked. You set this up for 2 years. You started it. I said, the day you voted me out. I've been waiting for this moment. Do you know why I drove a scrap van for 2 years? Because I wanted to watch you walk into my trap. Step by step. Every step you took, you buried yourself deeper. I turned to the security team. Escort Mr. Shen to the conference room. Lawyer Zhang will handle the rest. 2 guards took Shen Jiping's arms. He struggled, muttered something unintelligible, as they guided him toward the elevators. He looked back at me. His eyes utterly hollow. Like everything inside him had been scooped out. I stood in the middle of the lobby, watching him disappear. Then I turned to face the gathered employees. Everyone, I said, raising my voice. All department heads. 2 p.m. Main conference room. Also, I paused, looking toward the entrance. The guards outside had formed 2 lines at the main doors. The revolving door was pushed open, sunlight flooding in. This van I drove for 2 years. It's going to stay parked in the main plaza this afternoon. As of today, Moke Group is still Moke Group. And I'm back. The security captain was the first to react. He snapped to attention, back straight, and shouted, "Boss!" behind him. The rest of the team, the receptionists, the employees in the hall. Everyone joined in. The sound rolled out of the lobby, across the plaza, across the street, into the alley where my old van Saturday. I stood in the middle of all those eyes, and finally smiled. But inside, something was still heavy. Yuanda, Nasdaq, Shen Jiping had said. Do you really think what you've uncovered is everything? I believed him. Because it wasn't. The all-hands meeting ran 4 hours. I went through the company's current state, laid out the past 2 years of strategic planning, technology development, market direction. Some things the employees knew, some they heard for the first time. When I told them Moke Tower had been built with my own money, unrelated to financing, a wave of murmurs went through the crowd. I stood on the stage, looking at the rows of faces below. Some of you may be wondering, what was I doing for 2 years? Why stay away while your company was being run by someone else? Silence. Because I needed to collect the trash in this company. I said, Shen Jiping, Zhao Kai, the ones colluding with Qihong. 2 years ago, while my father was hospitalized, they organized a board vote that forced me into medical leave. They wanted to push out the founder and sell off the pieces. Someone gasped in the audience. I didn't leave. I continued. I just changed my identity. I knew everything that happened in this building. Who ate with whom, who passed what files, who fudged the numbers. Every name, every dollar. I have records. I let that sink in. Across the audience, expressions ranged from shock to nervousness to quiet relief. I'm not here to clean house. I said, I'm here to set things straight. Those who should stay, stay. Those who should go, go. The company moves forward. The second half project must proceed on schedule. As for Shen Jiping, I gestured to Lawyer Zhang, who stood with a folder of documents. He's been charged with embezzlement, corporate espionage, and trade secret theft. We've filed with the authorities. Zhao Kai is already in custody. For others involved, the company will handle each case separately. Those who come forward and cooperate may receive leniency. Those who resist, the law will decide. Silence. Then, meeting adjourned. As the crowd filed out, I saw the core RD team huddle together. Their faces the most expressive. The news that the leaked roadmap was only a decoy had been particularly telling. A relief that looked almost like surviving a fire. Zhou Shen approached. Mr. Chen, Shen Jiping is still in the conference room. He wants to see you. Let him wait. I have Yuanda to deal with first. Yuanda, the biggest unknown. Shen Jiping claimed he'd sold them the tech. Even if I told him it was a decoy. The RD team architecture. If that leaked, it could still affect Moke's next 2 years. Back in my 17th floor office, Lawyer Zhang had already compiled Shen Jiping's phone, computer, and cloud records. The analysis report sat on my desk. A thick stack. Communications with Yuanda go back at least 18 months. Zhang said, He transmitted files in 5 batches, including the first version of the white paper and several RD process documents. He also sent them Moke's product planning draft for the next 2 years, the product planning draft. I frowned. Who wrote that? Submitted by RD at year-end. Shen Jiping, as technical VP, reviewed it. He had access. I inhaled slowly. That draft, though not final, contained my market direction, thinking, and product positioning. Even if you and couldn't replicate our products, they could adjust their own RD direction to block us. Can we prove those documents belong to Moke's intellectual property? Yes. Zhang said. All documents have internal watermarks and digital signatures. Shen Jiping's copying actions are logged. If you and uses these materials, we can sue, then prepare the infringement case. Don't serve it yet. Wait until the city project contract is signed. Then we move. Zhang nodded. Also, Zhao Kai gave a full statement this morning. He confessed everything related to Shen Jiping's direction. Purchase kickbacks, bid leaks, contact with Qihong. All supported by recordings and transaction records. Good. I leaned back, my shoulders finally loosening. Outside, dusk was falling. I stood, walked to the window below. The plaza was thinning out. Quitting time. A taxi pulled up at the curb. A woman in a cream-white dress stepped out, took a few steps toward the revolving doors, then stopped. She stood by the fountain, looking up at the tower. Lu Shanshan. She'd changed her dress, repinned her hair, put on light makeup. I could see the effort from 15 floors up, trying to make herself presentable. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Chinemo. It's me. Her voice was timid. I know. I saw you downstairs. Can you come down? I want to apologize. In person. Not necessary. Chinemo, she hurried. Let me say a few things. Okay. 10 minutes. I thought about it all night. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things. I shouldn't have left with Zhao Kai. I really did want to meet you. I was fooled. I thought Zhao Kai had more to offer than you. Your judgment was correct. I said. On the surface, Zhao Kai did have more to offer. Company car, company money, gifts for you, a guided tour of his boss's tower. Anyone would have picked him. A silence. I heard her sniffle, barely audible. Chinemo, please don't talk like that. Lu Shanshan. I cut her off. I told you yesterday. None of this is about you. I wasn't targeting you. Zhao Kai is in custody for corporate crimes. You should stay away from him. Protect yourself. I know. I went to the police station to ask today. Her voice dropped. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. What I said yesterday. It was cruel. I shouldn't have looked down on you. I shouldn't have said those things. What did you say? I asked. I said you drive a broken van. Collect trash. You're not good enough for me. You weren't wrong. I said. I drove a broken van for 2 years. I collected scrap. But that was my choice. If you look down on me for that, that's your problem. I don't hold a grudge. A long silence on her end. Then. So now. Will you never give me a chance? There was never a chance between us. I said. It was a blind date. Nothing more. Go live your life. Don't waste time here. She didn't hang up. Just breathing. And the occasional muffled sob. After 10 seconds, I ended the call. From the window, I watched her still standing by the fountain, phone still to her ear. When she lowered it, her shoulders collapsed. She stood there for 2 or 3 minutes, then turned slowly and walked to the curb, flagging a taxi. As it drove off, she looked back through the rear window. I turned from the window, set the phone on my desk. Zhou Shun entered with a new document, his face serious. Mr. Chun, we found it. Shen Jiping signed a technical license agreement with Yuanda. 5.8 million for the materials. It also included a non-compete clause forbidding Moke from entering Yuanda's primary market for 2 years. He sold company assets for 5.8 million and used our market direction as bargaining leverage. Yes. If this agreement takes effect, Moke's product release for this year would be restricted. The contract was signed. Shen Jiping received an upfront payment of 2 million to an offshore account. Has it taken effect? The tech was delivered, but Yuanda hasn't started using it yet. Then we cut them off. I said, have legal contact Yuanda tomorrow. Advise them the agreement is void because Shen Jiping had no authority to sell company assets. If they still intend to use those materials, they'll receive a lawsuit. Zhou Shen nodded and was turning to leave, but stopped. Mr. Chun, can I ask you something? Go ahead. When you hired Zhao Kai, did you really not see this coming? Did I misjudge him? I smiled, walked to the window. Dark now. Lights scattered across the city. I looked at my hands that had carried scrap for 2 years. Moved cardboard. Turned screws. Written code. I misjudged him. Zhao Kai was my hire. I trusted him. He betrayed me. That's on me. But I don't regret hiring him. Hiring is like gambling. When you win, you win. When you lose, you own it. I turned to face Zhou Shan. Shin Jipping. That's the one I truly misread. 8 years. At the same table. I gave him leave when his family was sick. I wrote recommendations for his daughter's school. And he didn't even say goodbye when he turned on me. It took me 2 years to get over that. But I'm over it now. Zhou Shan looked at me. Said nothing. It's fine. I said, tomorrow's problems for tomorrow. Go home. I'll stay a while longer. After Zhou Shan left, I sat alone, turning the photo frame toward me. My parents in the photo. My dad in a white shirt. My mom in a floral dress. Laughing in a park. That photo was from their last Chinese New Year. My company was just starting. If they thought I was still an employee, I hadn't told them the truth. I was going to wait until the company was bigger, surprise them. But they never got to see it. I looked at the photo a moment longer, then put the frame back. I pulled out my phone and dialed an overseas number. It rang a long time before someone answered. A male voice with a slight accent. Mr. Chun, it's been a while. I need you to dig up Yuanda's complete background. I said, they're preparing a NASDAQ listing. Which investment bank? How much they're looking to raise? What story they're telling with their tech roadmap? Everything you can get. 1 week. A laugh. Mr. Chun, your timing is perfect. Yuanda's been talking to our fund recently. I happen to have a copy of their business plan. Send it over. Price, same as always. After the call, I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. The crack was still there. Light bled through it from the fixture above, casting a thin line on the floor. Shin Jipping, you thought selling me to Yuanda was the end of it. You sold my technology. And I'll take down your buyer too. I stood, turned off the office lights. From the 17th floor, the city stretched out in brilliant specks, like scattered gold. I stood in the dark for a while, then turned and walked out. The hallway motion lights flicked on. As I walked toward the elevator, my phone buzzed again. A WhatsApp message from Lu Shanshan. A photo of 2 coffee cups at the same cafe. The window table. Across the street. Moke Tower glowed in the background. Below the photo, she'd written, Chen Mo. This is my last message. I sat here today, thinking about everything. From when you walked in to when you said the building was yours. I was blind. I'll own that. But I also want you to know that even if you weren't a boss, even if you were just a junk collector, what I said was wrong. A person's car doesn't matter. What matters is who they are. I misjudged more than one person yesterday. I'm sorry. Chen Mo. I wish you well. I stood by the elevator, reading that message for a long time. The doors opened. Empty. I stepped in and pressed B1.as. The elevator descended. The screen was still glowing. I looked at it one last time, then swiped away Lu Shanshan's chat. Not because her apology wasn't sincere, but because she was right. At the car doesn't matter. The person matters. She'd misjudged yesterday, and today she'd seen the truth. But her truth was built on my money and position. If I were really just a junkman, would her apology have come? The elevator reached B1. I walked through the quiet garage to the corner where my van Saturday still dusty. Still with the We Buy Scrap Appliances sticker peeling at the edges. I got in. The engine still coughed twice before catching. The AC still didn't work. I rolled the window down and drove out. Night air rushing in, sharp and cleansing. This van had seen me through the hardest 2 years. I'd driven it through every scrapyard and landfill in the city, hiding in plain sight, tracking every whisper from Moke Tower. It had carried me through the humiliating days and the loneliest nights. And now, everything was coming to a close. Shin Jipping. Jail. Zhao Kai. Jail. Yuan. I'd make them pay. Qihong. Hurt bad by losing the project. Lu Shanshan. Gone. My aunt. Filled in. I drove aimlessly for a while, finally stopping at a small park on the edge of the ring road. I cut the engine, reclined the seat, and lay back, staring at the roof. A dark grease stain from a load of old AC units last summer. I watched the stain until my eyes closed. Tomorrow, plenty to do. But tonight, I wanted to sleep in the van that had stayed with me through rock bottom. I woke to birdsong. Summer dawn. Just past 5. Light filtered through the sycamore leaves, dappling the dashboard in gold. I sat up, rubbed my neck, stretched, stiff, but clear-headed. 15 new messages. Zhou Shan. Old gal. Lawyer Zhang. Several RD managers. I read through them in order. The city project contract was signed. 10 a.m. today. Shin Jipping had been formally turned over to investigators. Zhao Kai's case was in the indictment phase. He'd given up more details, implicating Qihong in 2 other projects. Yuanda had received the legal notice, but hadn't responded yet. Everything on track. I turned the key. The engine fired up quicker this time. I drove to the office, arriving before 7. The underground garage was empty. I parked the van in its corner spot, locked it, and took the service elevator to 17. Splashed water on my face, changed into a clean suit. The face in the mirror looked more rested, the exhaustion of 2 years mostly washed away. 8 a.m. Joshin arrived with breakfast. He set the buns and soy milk on my desk and gave me 2 updates. First, Shin Jiping asked to meet you. Said he has something to confess. The investigators approved it. When do you want to go? This afternoon. Let him stew. He'll be more honest when he's had time to think. Second, Joshin's expression turned odd. Wang Jinkuan from Qihong called the front desk 3 times this morning. He wants to talk about cooperation. I raised an eyebrow. What kind of cooperation that he didn't say? But the front desk got the impression he wants to form a joint venture on the city project. Qihong takes a subcontracting portion while we remain primed. I smiled. He lost the bid and now wants to ride our coattails. The project is 180 million that we can handle it alone. But with a tight timeline, subcontracting could ease the pressure. He probably knows that and wants to negotiate. I thought for a moment. Tell him to come at 1:30 p.m. 17th floor conference room. Make it clear that we can talk. But on one condition. Qihong must disclose all financial transactions with Shin Jiping. Everything. Joshin blinked. Well, he agreed that he can agree or he can leave. We've got the project contract that I don't lack subcontractors. But if Qihong wants to stay in this field, Shin Jiping is a loose end. Their choice. Joshin nodded and left. At9. Old Gao appeared in civilian clothes, looking better than the past few days. He stood at the door. Mr. Chun, Zhao Kai wrote a letter from the detention center. It was forwarded to you. I opened it on my desk. Zhao Kai's handwriting was shaky. He'd clearly struggled to write. Short, maybe 8 lines. Mr. Chun, I confess, I've told them everything. There's nothing else. I just want to say I'm sorry. I let you down. If I ever get out, I'll never do anything like this again. Zhao Kai folded the letter and put it in the drawer. Old Gao asked, should I reply? No. Let him focus on his rehabilitation. At10. I signed the city project contract in person. The city officials looked surprised. They'd only ever dealt with Shin Jiping before. I shook hands with the bid office director. Said the right things. Signed the paperwork. On my way back through the lobby, I ran into Wang Jinkuan coming in. He forced a smile when he saw me. Mr. Chun, good to meet you. Mr. Wang. 1:30 p.m. He nodded, didn't linger, and walked toward the waiting area. His assistant followed. Eyes lowered. At lunch. I rested for half an hour in my office. Woke at 1:20. Washed up. Zhou Shun had the conference room ready. Documents. Projector. At 1:30. I walked in. Wang Jinkuan was already seated. Navy suit. Burgundy tie. Clearly prepared. He stood when I entered. Extended a hand. I shook it. An SAT. Mr. Chun. He cut straight to it. 100 times more deferential than he'd been at the bid opening. You won the city project. Qihong lost. Fair and square. But I'd like to discuss subcontracting. Qihong has existing construction crews and equipment for smart transit projects. If you sublet the hardware delivery portion to us, we can compress your timeline by at least 2 months. Price. Market rate. 10% discount. Rough volume. About 30 million in work. I didn't answer immediately. Took a sip of tea. Held his gaze. He sat straight. Hands on the table. Knuckles slightly white. Mr. Wang. I set the cup down. Subcontracting is negotiable. But I have one condition. Name it. Qihong must disclose all financial records related to Shin Jiping. What materials were exchanged. Amounts paid. Who the contacts were. And whether any other MOC employees were involved. Every record. Wang Jinkuan's face froze. He was quiet for several seconds. Mr. Chun, is that not a bit? You think it's too much? I leaned back. Shin Jiping was my technical VP for 8 years. He sold trade secrets worth tens of millions to competitors. Qihong was the primary buyer. Do you expect me to trust that once you get a subcontract, you won't continue those games? His Adam's apple bobbed. He looked down at his hands, silent for a long moment. The conference room was dead quiet except for the AC hum. Fine. He said finally, you'll get the records, but you'll guarantee they won't appear in court. That's not my call to make. I said, but I can promise that we'll convey your cooperation to the investigators. Wang Jinkuan gritted his teeth, then extended his hand. Deal. I shook it. Behind his eyes, I saw exhaustion. A different man from the one who'd raged at the bid opening. At the door. He paused. Mr. Chun, one more thing. From me. You're something else. 2 years ago, Shin Jiping came to me, and said you were done, that the company was still yours, but you couldn't steer it anymore. I believed him. Looking back, Shin Jiping never understood what kind of person you really are. I said nothing. He nodded and left. That afternoon, the investigators called. Shin Jiping was ready to talk. Old Gao drove me. On the way, the ring road looked different from the passenger seat of the Mercedes compared to the driver's seat of the van at the station. I was led to a meeting room. Shin Jiping sat across the table in standard-issue detention wear, unshaven. When he saw me, his mouth twitched. A weak smile. You came. His voice was raw. You asked to see me. He stared at me for a long time. Shin-mo, do you know why I did it? Money, yes. And no. He leaned back, looking tired. When you started the company, I built it with you. We were so broke we couldn't afford the office rent. Then we grew, got funding. You gave everyone equity. But you kept the biggest share for yourself. I felt cheated. So you sold company secrets. I told myself it was compensation. 8 years that you made more. I did more. You were out entertaining investors while I ran the whole RD team. Why did you deserve the biggest share? I sat across from him, letting him speak. These were things he'd held in for 8 years, but I realized now. He said, looking up at me, it wasn't really about the money. I just hated that you were always ahead of me. I was jealous. I'm not jealous of the money. I'm jealous that you're the boss, and I'm not. Then you decided to push me out. It felt satisfying at first, but then you were gone. 2 years. I watched the company turn, and it just felt empty. Your job was to pass the bid to Chi Hong and collect kickbacks. He smiled bitterly. I was crazy. When you started driving that van, I saw you from the window. I thought, look at him. He's finished. He shook his head. But you were never finished. You were waiting. Is there anything else you need to say? You and I gave them everything. But I kept a backup of the core algorithm on my computer back home. I'd hidden it as a final bargaining chip. I'll give you the address. Let the investigators retrieve it. He wrote the address on a paper. I took it, read it, nodded. Shin-mo. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. I'm sorry. I stood, looked at him one last time. Shin Jiping, the person you owe an apology to isn't me. It's the guy who sat in a rental office with you for 3 months eating instant noodles, who said I believe in you, while we had no money to pay wages. That person is gone. I turned and walked out. Behind me, the door closed, the muffled sound of a fist hitting the table. I didn't look back. It was dusk when I emerged from the detention center. A deep red sunset burned across the sky, streetlights just flickering on. I stood on the steps and inhaled deeply. Summer scent. Cooking smoke. Old Gao pulled the car up. Back to the office? Not yet. I said, drive me to the old scrapyard. He blinked, but didn't ask. He took the highway toward the eastern outskirts. The place was on the edge of town. A small yard I'd rented for 3 years. Contract still active. When we arrived, the gate was locked. I unlocked it and walked in. Most of the scrap was gone, just a few piles of old newspapers and plastic bottles. I stood in the middle of the yard, looking at the twisted old jujube tree. Summer fruits hung green on its branches, rustling in the wind. This yard had been my home for 2 years. Hot summers, freezing winters, no hot water. I boiled it on a stove. But here, I'd figured out a lot of things: who to trust, who not to, what path to take, how to use people. The junk men I met every day lived by simple rules. Something is worth what it's worth. No more. No deception. No shortcuts. Those 2 years were hard, but they were clean. I stood for a while, took a few photos of the yard, then locked the gate behind me. Old Gao waited by the car. You're not renewing the lease. 3 months left. I said, keep it. You never know when it might come in handy. Old Gao laughed. You think you'll ever need it? Who knows? I smiled. I in the car. I leaned back and checked my phone. The last message was still Lu Shanshan's coffee photo. I scrolled to her chat and typed a reply. Received. Take care of yourself. I put the phone on silent, leaned against the window, watching the twilight. When the car entered the ring road, a massive orange-pink sunset spread before us. Moke Tower stood in the middle of that glow, its glass facade blazing like a lit match. I watched for a long time. Then I asked Old Gao to stop at the curb. I got out, walked into a stationery store, bought a marker, and walked to the back alley where the van was parked. On the peeling scrap collection sticker, I wrote in bold letters, "Boss is back. No need to collect." Then I got back into the Mercedes and said, drive me to the office. As we merged onto the main road, the sunset faded, city lights taking over, layer by layer. Through the window, I watched my tower melt into the night sky. My chest finally still. The van would stay, but not for hiding anymore. Those 2 years were gone. The ones in the shadows had been dragged into the light. And Moke Tower's lights would keep shining.